What's going on, everybody? Steve's Got Tom. Finally back with another video. I know I have not made a video in a very long time. I apologize for it, but at the same time, it is just like a smaller hobby of mine. There's other things I do in life. Anyway, I've been reading some of your guys' comments on my one video about flat rate pay and the technician world that we are currently in. And so I figured I'd make another video. I kind of want to, I'm not going to say I'm going to make it a series because I'll like make this video and then never make another video again for like 6 or 7 months. But I want to make it a series of talking from my experience as an automotive technician on subjects that I think are interesting, or maybe if you guys have suggestions of topics you want to hear about. I would like to talk about it. I like to share my input and just try to teach people what I know and what I've learned over the past few years. So today's video is being brought to you by the cockpit of Big Green, and I think the filming location that I chosen today has, I'm not going to say where it is, but many of my closer friends will know exactly what spot that this is. This is like a classic around where I'm from. So we are filming from this today and filming from inside the truck. So in today's video, the topic I want to talk about is for the brand new mechanics. These are the apprentices, or say the lube techs, the tire techs, the people that haven't been doing this a while or that are just about to start doing it. I'm not going to be talking about if you should be an automotive technician. This isn't a video for the people that are like kind of on the fence about becoming one. This video is more for the people that have decided that they want to be an automotive technician and they're just getting started. These are my 10 pieces of advice I have to give to you guys. Once again, background on me, I have been an automotive technician for the past few years. I'm 21 years old now. I did actually have a birthday since my last video about this. 21 years old, have been doing this since I was actually 17 years old in a shop, and I went to school for this. Graduated the trade school, have been doing this full time. The shop that I'm at right now, I've been at for over a year. I'm a B tech. If you wanted more background information on who I am when it comes to an automotive technician, go watch my video about if flat rate pay is a scam, and when I talk about the technician shortage that it causes, go watch that video. I talk more about myself there. Anyway, this is for the newer guys out there, my 10 pieces of advice for you guys to make sure that everybody has a smoother time. So, I'm not a shop owner myself, and I'm also the last person to lick boots for a shop. I simply just go to work and I go home, and then I focus on what I enjoy most in life. These are my pieces of advice for making not only your experience go smoother, but everybody around you experience go smoother, and make the shop run so much better with less headaches, and have everybody that works there actually look forward to going to work instead of dreading it and dreading talking to you. No particular order, we're going to start with number 10, and that is going to be loud tools. So obviously working in a shop, now tools are going to be loud. There's no way around that. The freaking impact gun is always going to be an impact gun, but this is in reference to the brand new lube tech that got the absolute cheapest Milwaukee impact gun. And now I understand, money is tight, that's all right, but when you have the loudest impact gun, the battery impact gun in the entire shop, and you are just hammering on every single lug nut for like 10 seconds each or whatever, like, I know it makes me sound super nitpicky, and I'm sure there's going to be disagreements in the comments. These are just things that I find. Maybe I'm too much of a grouch, but when the tools are very loud for a very long time, more particularly at the shop I work at, all the technicians have to make all the phone calls themselves for parts or whatever. There's no service writers, which is why it is actually a really good place to work. When I'm on the phone, or whenever anybody's on the phone and we're talking and we're trying to order parts or whatever, and the new guy in the back is hammering down on the lug nuts with the cheapest impact gun he could have found, at that point, come to somebody like me and just ask for, like, say my snap-on gun or my better, Milwaukee gun, and, I'll always help you out. That's no problem. But just try to be a little bit considerate with the amount of noise that you're making. Now, I'm not saying, like, be embarrassed about swinging a hammer and try to make everything all quiet. That, that's dumb. But just keep in mind, when somebody's on the phone, maybe like don't whack the tool. Also think maybe if the tool you're using is producing a lot of noise and it's constant, maybe you're not using the right tool for the job. An example of this that I see quite frequently is diagnosing an oil leak, and a newer technician will grab, you know, like an air hose with the air chuck on it, and they will take it and they will spray down with air the whole thing. And it takes a long time. It's not really that effective. You know, like, it dries it up, don't get me wrong, but it's not really as effective. Personally, for me, a little tech tip, when it comes to diagnosing an oil leak, I do like to get the engine rather hot, like drive it, you know, pretty good. And once the engine's up to temp, I'll put it up on my lift, shut it off, and then spray it down with brake clean. And since the engine's really hot, it evaporates right away, and it just kind of takes the oil with it. And, you know, that's just what I do personally. So anyway, yeah, number 10, try to avoid making an absurd amount of noise and distracting everybody, and especially on a Monday morning, get everybody real mad before anybody's had any coffee. All right, tip number 9, we're gonna have blasting really loud music over a speaker. Wow, this is insane. Numbers 10 and 9 are both about things being too loud. I really look like I'm like kind of a bitch. Anyway, it's gonna be blasting really loud music that nobody likes. Here's the situation. Your car looks like this. Your coworkers, they all look like this. And you look like this, all right? Everybody around you is 40 to 50 years older than you, okay? The last thing that they want to hear, crack of dawn in the morning, is you going in there and blasting stuff like Suicide Boys or... Alright, Suicide Boys is very stereotypical for, you know, like a modern day car guy. For whatever reason, everybody likes to listen to Suicide Boys when they're driving their stance cars. But if you're like coming in blasting music like that, or blasting like funk, personally, I can't stand funk. Any type of music like that, when you're coming in there and blasting it, these guys that are 40 and 50 years older than you, for the most part, do not want to hear this stuff. I, 21 years old, do not want to hear this stuff. In my shop that I work at, there is a radio on one side, but you can't hear it over on my side. Personally, me and the techs that work on this side, if we want to listen to music, we'll just put one AirPod in, keep it low, kind of, you know, whatever, because not everybody wants to hear your music, dude, and that's all right. You know, it's your music. Like, it's not, you know, it depends on the shop, though. If they have like something where like they have a speaker and then anybody's welcome to connect to the speaker and put people on to music, that's fine. But just try to be conscious of what you're playing. Everybody likes what they like, and that's fine, but just think about the people around you. All right, coming in at number 8, 10, 9, 8, we have the newer technician that is going to come up to the older technicians with everything that they're doing, and they're going to take their flashlight and put it like that and shine it right at what they're looking at and try to figure out and start asking all these questions. Listen, guys, as a new person, there is nothing wrong with wanting to learn. And there are going to be plenty of technicians out there that are going to be willing to teach you what you want to learn. And that's awesome. But it's kind of situational, you know. As a technician, if I am, say, cock and balls deep into this insane job, it's stressful, it's hot, the heater's blowing on you, nothing is going your way, you know. Your boss is down your spine, and all of a sudden, this new guy comes up, shines his flashlight right at what you're working on, asks what you're doing at the worst moment where you don't want to talk to anybody. It's going to be easier to take it out on the new guy asking this. I don't know, maybe watch from a distance, maybe like walk up and kind of ask, you know, like what's going on. But to kind of butt your way in there, shine the flashlight on your stuff, that's like a personal thing for me. I used to know somebody that would shine their flashlight on something that I'm working on, and it would really just irk me if they did it at the wrong time. Another big thing is, you know, like, I'm not going to say don't give advice, but, you know, statistically speaking, you're not going to know as much as the guy that's working on the bigger job. And if I'm doing something big and a younger guy comes up and he gives me advice that I, 1, already tried, or 2, I already know it's wrong because I've done it in the past, that's just another thing that gets, you know, the technician, me, oh god, I really feel like an asshole making this. It really just gets me mad. So just try to be conscious of people around you. Tensions are going to be high with some jobs. It's a stressful job. It's not easy going. So, you know, if somebody looks like, you know, sweat's dripping off their face and their face is all red and they're having a bad time, maybe don't go up to them and, you know, frickin' ask what's going on. Oh, this guy's about to kick dirt all over me. Oh my god. And the other one is buying the absolute cheapest tool and telling all the other technicians around you about how your cheap tool is better than their real tool. Listen, I'm not going to get into the debate if you should go expensive or cheap. There's so many videos on what tools you can cheap out on and what tools you shouldn't cheap out on. So, you know, two different parties, that's fine. Agree or disagree, whatever. But listen, if you're gonna go out and buy the most expensive stuff, I'm just trying to give you advice here. Maybe don't do that when you start out, because you don't know if you're gonna like it. You don't know if you're gonna be good at it. It's common sense. But more importantly, if you're going out and buying the absolute cheapest stuff, the bottom of the barrel stuff from Harbor Freight or wherever it is, anywhere else, just that's fine. But just like, you know, don't go and say like, oh, this tool's so much better, I save so much more money. Because in reality, the technician, when they've all had the cheaper tools at one point, they've all had to work around all the cheap tools, they understand what's going on, and they worked hard to earn the money to buy the nicer tools. So like, you know, that tool not only does the job better than your cheaper tool, but it does also mean a little bit more, you know, because it's like you kind of earned it. You know, you've been there a while, you've been working hard, you earned the tool. There's something to be said about that. So, you know, don't go dunking on every other tech about how, you know, your Harbor Freight ratchet is so much better than any Snap-on ratchet or anything to that extent. You know, just try to, you know, mind your own business when it comes to your tools. Try to learn what the other techs say is good to buy cheap and what you should buy expensive. And, you know, it's all right. It's all right to compare, you know, the cheap versus the expensive tool. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't be saying like, you know, oh man, you know, you got scammed, I can't believe you would buy that, blah blah blah. Because we all know at the end of the day, there's some tools that we spent way too much money on, probably shouldn't have bought, but you know, it's a tough pill to swallow. This next one is important, so I'd like you guys to listen up. This is number 5, and it is, please be mindful of what you are capable of doing. Do not say yes to every single job that you get offered, because your boss is going to pay you a certain amount of money to do this work, and this work is going to include, you know, like tire changes, battery changes, oil changes, the normal C-Tech, lube tech kind of, you know, deal, and he's going to give you this rate. And then he's gonna, or she, they're gonna start asking you, all right, you know, can you pull in this, you know, this alternator job? Can you pull in this water pump job, this pulley job, you know, this valve cover gasket, intake gasket? You're gonna start getting asked to do all these other jobs. And listen, there's nothing wrong with learning. There's nothing wrong with, you know, giving it a try. You know, there's nothing wrong, especially if your boss is letting you, you know, maybe have another tech help you through it. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you start to realize that you are capable of doing these bigger jobs consistently, your boss is going to want you to keep pulling them in, which is no problem. But the problem happens when you realize your paycheck is staying the same. When you're still being paid, you know, whatever your rate amount is for, you know, you're supposed to, when you're making your oil change money, but you're doing your, you know, your valve cover work, that's not going to be worth it. You're going to really start to hate the job. You're going to hate the career, because, you know, you're never going to have enough money and you're going to be working your butt off. So either you're going to have to, one, go to your boss and ask for more money, or listen, they always said this, toolboxes have wheels for a reason. Don't be scared to go and spend your time where you're going to be paid what you're worth. So you have to watch out for that when it comes to accepting jobs. They're going to be, it's possible you're going to be taken advantage of, but also, you know, don't be saying, yes, I can do this job, I can do that job, when you've never done any of those jobs, and now you're going to be 2 days into a major job that would have taken a tech a few hours, and now, you know, everything's being set behind. This is when the technicians start getting thrown the oil change jobs or the battery jobs, when these should be like, you know, the lube tech jobs, which is all right. There is a divide. There's definitely a divide amongst technicians, but there should be. You know, you don't want the, you know, guy who's been doing this for 30 years, master tech, to be banging out 10 waiter oil changes as you try to, you know, spend your third day into doing an alternator on a Ultima with a 3.5 liter V6. Speaking from experience, we have all been there. So this is like I was saying, this is just my advice. This is number 4, and this one is going to be leaving your space a mess. Now, this should just go common sense, but don't leave, you know, all your tools out all night. Like, put your tools back. That's how you see if you lost tools, or if you make sure you have all your tools. Make sure you know, put your tools back. There's nothing wrong with that. Wrap your air hose up. This is especially if you're working out of somebody else's bay for a certain job. Please, you know, put their stuff back the way they had it. You know, say if I go to do an alignment on a car on the other side of the shop, and then, you know, lube tech pulls their car in on my bay, and I come back and now my air hose is all wrapped out, everything's all dirty. They use my toolbox to like put like a freaking like axle that's leaking grease everywhere. You know, like, that sucks. You know, that's a horrible thing to come back to, especially after a long day. try to keep your area clean. You know, don't go and like start cleaning everybody else's area. That's, you know, that's just ridiculous. You don't want to be the shop bitch, but keep your area clean. Clean up other people's area if you made the mess. You know, don't just start, you know, living like it's a pigsty or anything or whatever people say. You know, just try to keep everything tidy. It could also be a hazard having a wrapped out hose. Say, you know, you have a truck up on your lift and all of a sudden it's like one of those F-150s where the frame kind of goes up in the back and now it's like starting to slide off the lift. So your first instinct should be to run away. I know some people's instinct is to like jump onto the truck and hold it there. It's bad. If a truck or car is falling off the lift, you want to run away as fast as possible. But if you start to run away and your feet get tangled in the hose, obviously that's going to be a big problem. A car's going to fall on you. What's going to be even worse is if a car starts to fall off my lift and my feet are tangled in a hose that somebody else left out, I'm not going to be happy. I'm just simply not. So, yeah, just clean up your area. All right, so this is number 3. This is definitely more for the younger generation doing this, but it does still apply to everybody. And that's to just watch out, you know, when it comes to your own health. So you're gonna have, you know, you're gonna have coworkers that are gonna go home and they're gonna drink every single day, or they're gonna smoke cigarettes all day throughout the shop. To each their own. You know, they've been doing it for 10 years, whatever, 20 years, 30 years. Like, that's their life. You know, not gonna pass judgment on that. But if you're younger, you know, and you've never smoked a cigarette in your life, or you know, you never drank a beer in your life, you know, it's your decision if you're gonna start doing anything like this. But it might be really easy, I think, as a mechanic to kind of get drawn into those things. I know at 2 shops that I've worked at so far, you were allowed to smoke inside the shop, which definitely doesn't help anything if, you know, you're like kind of fighting a nicotine addiction or something. If you're given the ability to smoke inside the shop, chances are, you know, if you haven't ever done it before, you'll be all right. But if you start thinking about it, it's almost like enabling, you know, like, oh, you know, everybody else smokes cigarettes, I may as well just pick it up, give it a try, blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm not going to say don't experiment, you know, don't try things. I'm not endorsing smoking cigarettes, or I'm not endorsing drinking. That's not, you know, that's not my job to, you know, say to do or to not to do anything. But you know, maybe if you haven't done anything like that before, it really is never a good time to start. You know, try to just stay healthy. It's important to stay healthy in this industry. You know, your body is like your biggest tool that you have, so you got to make sure you're keeping it well. Point number 2, but honestly, I should have put in the number 1 spot, even though I said I'm not doing this in an order. This is by far the biggest thing for me, and that is going to be the reason I'm wearing these up here, right here. PPE, personal protective equipment. Guys, there are going to be older people in here that have been doing this for 30 years, and they're going to tell you, you know, you shouldn't, you know, this is the situation, is he's going to say, he's going to call you a bitch or a PUSSY for wearing gloves as you work on a car, and after that he's going to brake clean his hands off, and then he's going to wash his hands in the parts cleaner. Now, I shouldn't even have to say why that's a horrible idea and why that's bad, but you're gonna have numerous people try to tell you constantly that you know, you're a PUSSY for wearing PPE. Safety glasses, I wear them constantly at work, so mine right here, I'm gonna take them off because they're not transitions like my normal glasses, but these safety glasses, I wear them all day at work, unless if I'm outside, then I put my other ones on just because they're transitions. But this keeps my eyes safe, obviously, so put them right up on the head most of the time when, you know, if I got these glasses on. But safety glasses, ear protection if you're doing something really loud. What else? Just like, you know, gloves, even like knee pads. I don't know, I'm trying to think. Just whatever, anything to make your job safer. Don't be ashamed about doing. There's nothing wrong with it. People always say like, oh man, OSHA's a buzzkill. Listen, I never understood that. OSHA's just looking out for your like life and your well-being. So I never really understood the whole like, you know, screw OSHA thing, because personally I believe that, you know, your life is always going to be a little bit more valuable than any 9 to 5, especially if you're not working for yourself. If you're working for somebody else's dream, it's going to be hard to justify risking your life every single day. That's my opinion on it. You know, take it with a grain of salt. That, you know, me personally, I will always vouch for PPE. I will always vouch for safety at work. I always said the worst way to die, if anybody ever asked me what the worst way to die is, I always said dying at work has to suck. It's not that I hate to be there. Like, I like going to work. You know, I like, you know, it's productive, but, you know, it's not, working is not what I love. I don't live to work. I work to live. So I would say just, you know, don't be ashamed about PPE. There's nothing wrong with it. I wear it. If anybody ever start giving you crap for it, you know, just tell them to buzz off, because you know, you're ultimately should, you know, live longer than them. I don't know. Yeah, it's your call once again when it comes to this stuff. There's a lot of shops that don't have any rules when it comes to PPE, and some shops do. Just keep in mind your safety and your health, your well-being is important. If not to you, to me. You know, from old Steve's got Tom, well, look out for yourself. This is the last point I'm gonna make. This is technically point number 1, but like I said, it's in no order, is try not to be a total hothead. I know, it's a stressful job. I just told you, it's stressful. Don't smoke cigarettes, whatever. But most importantly, don't be a hothead, man. You know, it's easy to get mad. It's easy to get caught up. Just take a step back, take a break. Don't throw your wrenches. That's embarrassing. You know, if everybody else is in a cool mood and you're the only one in the hot mood and you throw a wrench, that's very embarrassing. You will understand that when you see somebody else do it. Just think like, ooh, God, glad that's not me. Everybody gets frustrated. Everybody gets stuck, but don't throw a wrench over it. The most embarrassing part is now you gotta go freaking find the wrench, and, you know, God forbid it hits a customer's car or your boss's car that's parked inside. Like, you know, don't throw wrenches. Don't be cussing up a storm at the top of your lungs. You know, you don't want to just look like some ghetto rat mechanic that, you know, all the customers are seeing. They're like, oh, man, that guy's working on my car. Oh, I don't want that. You know, like, nobody wants that. Just be mindful. You know, like, don't get too caught up in it. At the end of the day, it still is just a job. You know, maybe I'll make a video about if you should be a mechanic, but my biggest secret about it is, if you're thinking about being a mechanic, if your main passion in life, the thing you put above all else, is your passion for cars, maybe don't be one, because turning your passion into a job, you will, you know, like, you're gonna see parts of your passion you wish you never saw. Like I've said before, cars are not my main passion. My main passion always will and has been music, making music, writing music, playing music. So cars has always been a top second, and that's all right. That's why I picked it as my career, and I'm only, you know, I'm doing it till I'm a rock star, you know, fingers crossed, right? So just don't let yourself hate this over, you know, things that go wrong. Don't let yourself get mad over something that you really did once love. So if you're getting hot, take a step back. That's fine, everybody does. But, you know, you don't have to put a show on for anybody. You know, just keep doing your thing, man, you know. So that's gonna wrap up today's video. Thanks for stopping back in. I know it has been quite a while since we filmed the video, so it's nice seeing everybody again. I hope to see all you guys in the comments. From Big Green, oh God, the freaking sun is bright. Steve's got Tom, Big Green, the most famous road ever. We are checking out. Thanks for watching this far. See you guys in the next episode. Peace.